Fun fact, I use my spare shower rod to focus my camera from a distance. Greetings, you crazy individuals. In case you haven't found out by now, I was on TV, on America's Got Talent, I did my act, and I got 4 yeses from the judges. If you haven't seen that already, I'll put a link in the description. But I'm not here today to talk about that. Today I want to discuss a question that has come up a lot more frequently since I started the show. It wasn't really until I started being interviewed for the show that I heard this question. And the question was, why voice acting? Why do you want to be a voice actor? Why do you want to get into voice acting? How did you decide that you wanted to be a voice actor? I remember when I first heard that question, my immediate response was, I don't know. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that there were several factors in my life that sort of led me to not only wanting to pursue a career in voice acting, but in the entertainment industry in general. When I was younger, I watched a lot of cartoons. My parents introduced me to the cartoons that they watched growing up, like the old Hanna-Barbera shows, Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones, also the Looney Tunes. Eventually I started watching my own shows like SpongeBob and some of the Disney movie spin-off shows. And even now, I tell people that I'm pretty sure I watch more cartoons than the average 23-year-old does or probably ever should. Some people have asked me, is this something that you've wanted to do since you were a kid? Did you want to voice act when you were watching cartoons as a little kid? And the truth is, no, I didn't really think about it until I was probably in my last year of high school, and more so probably into my first year of college. With all the shows I watched as a kid, I would watch the same episodes so often that I would just start quoting the lines that I remembered from that episode. Eventually, I started to try to mimic the characters. I think I remember first trying out a Patrick Star impression.
This isn't some mail fraud scammer hijacking here! We stole a balloon!
Something like that. I saw it as something fun to do, but also something that I knew kind of annoyed everyone in my family. I would be in character talking to myself around the house and somebody's watching TV in the other room and they're telling me to be quiet. That's all it was at first. A fun, annoying little thing that I did just to entertain myself, basically. And it wasn't until high school that I realized I could do a lot more with this. I figured this out by joining the speech and debate team. Now, when you're thinking speech and debate, you're mostly thinking that I was arguing against people. And that actually is not what I was doing. I was in a different category called duo interpretation. I had a partner, and the two of us had to memorize about a 10-minute skit, usually adapted from some kind of famous screenplay. I did the screenplay of Shrek during my junior year. I did a parody of Grease the musical my senior year. It was called Grease the Ancient Musical. So many Greek mythology puns. Only having two people memorize an entire skit and perform it and compete against other people with it required the two of us to voice several different characters, and the only way to differentiate between characters was the position of the character and their voice. For Grease the Ancient Musical, my Medusa was like a really thick, heavy smoker voice. She talked like this, and she'd always be yelling at her snakes, and she'd always be waving her hands like this, cause she's still a lady even though she doesn't sound like a lady. And I loved the reaction I would get from the people we competed against. Sometimes it was a weirded out face, or it was like a cracked smile, like trying not to laugh, but it's something that's really funny. Towards the end of the season, I was thinking I was probably going to go to college for architecture, some kind of engineering. However, I found out about the Communication Studies program, which focuses a lot on public speaking and kind of all of the different mechanics that go into public speaking. And I thought, well, I love public speaking right now. Why not give this a try? Do something that I'm good at. So I went to school for communication studies. I incorporated the different elements that I learned in speech and debate and applied it to all of my in-class presentations. That definitely helped expand my knowledge of public speaking and just all the different ways that I could present myself in front of people. I also started taking digital media classes my last 2 years, and I learned how to work a camera properly. That was before I got this camera. Before this, I was using my webcam to make YouTube videos, and some of you might remember those. Really bad quality. Oh, and I was in college radio for a little bit. I guess that kind of helped, being behind the microphone. I've done a little bit of improv in college. It's a lot of fun. I think wanting to be a performer, speak in front of people, and entertain people along with learning the mechanics of a camera, led me to decide that I wanted to be a voice actor, putting my skills to use with YouTube and also helping other people with student projects. I would do my own narrations for my video projects, just being able to continue to get that kind of experience and learn how the professionals do it. This came as a surprise to some people, especially my parents, because so many times throughout my life I always said, I want to do this thing, or I want to do this thing. And my parents would think, okay, he's saying that, but he's not really serious. So this was the one surprising thing, because I've actually been serious about this, and I haven't stopped pursuing it. Even after anything that might have discouraged me from pursuing voice acting, I think this is one of the few long-term things that I've ever wanted this badly. Some of the biggest inspiration I've had came from YouTubers who have been on YouTube for a lot longer, including Brizzy Voices, who is an amazing impressionist. I mentioned her in a previous video, but she was one of the first YouTubers who helped me realize that it's okay to put yourself out there and give yourself over to the online public. She was one of the biggest reasons why I started my channel in the first place. Another inspiration was my dad. He used a lot of silly voices when I was growing up with my brother and sisters, including Donald Duck and Bullwinkle, and that was something that always made us laugh. I also learned a lot about voice acting from this book called Voiceover Voice Actor by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt, who are both voice actors. It has loads of information for people who want to get started in voice acting, including making a demo, getting the right equipment, where to go when you want to audition. Highly recommend. Not a sponsor. So why voice acting? All of those things that you just heard. Growing up watching cartoons, imitating those cartoons, developing voices, going into theater and speech and debate and college radio, being able to make people laugh, being able to start this YouTube channel, and a nice little bow on top is being able to perform for America's Got Talent. Whether people like the act or not, I still think being on that stage allowed people to realize that this was something that I wanted. This is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I'm going to continue to pursue regardless of what anybody thinks. And at that point, when you realize that you don't care what other people think, that's when you realize how important something is. I do have a career right now, I have a nice full-time job, and I'm still finding time to focus on making videos and getting myself out there. I don't know when my voice acting career will take off, or if it will take off, but I know that right now what I'm doing makes me extremely happy. I'm going to make the most of what I'm currently doing, and I hope you guys continue to follow me on the way. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and be sure to subscribe. I'll see you all next week.